Hi guys, it's me, just Lindsay again. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to everyone there in ancient land. I'm very happy to announce that it's a new year, 2026. Time for new resolutions, new beginnings, new promises, and a new war is happening with Venezuela. Yes, I just read the news today that Donald Trump of all people, the peacetime president, just captured or in other words, kidnapped President Maduro and his wife from Venezuela a couple of days ago or a few days ago. So yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. This is a hell of a news story for the new year. A real big banger in which he had a military team bust into Venezuela and violate their airspace and then violate their security by bringing home this president, which Trump views as like it's legitimate. And he wants to pin him on charges of infiltrating America with drugs like fentanyl, cocaine, and the like thereof. And yeah, this doesn't bode too well for international relations or anything of that nature, which I doubt if the hardcore MAGA base gives a fuck about at this point. But it is something that the normal people should care about. Because, number one, does it come from a man who won a Nobel Peace Prize? And you don't get a Nobel Peace Prize by declaring war. Not only that, but you don't get declaring war, and it's legal. Because Congress was not involved, and they are the go-to people to declare official war with somebody. But that never stopped Trump before. Who gives a shit if it's illegal or not? That's more of a convenience that Trump doesn't even bother with anymore. Whether it's something that's legal or not, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a rat's ass. He thinks he's on top of the world. He thinks he's invincible. And right now he believes that his crony is like Stephen Miller of all people, and Pete Hegseth are going to be in charge of the little sections of the Venezuelan mainland, much like you would expect from a medieval kingdom, with fiefdoms and stuff like that, or say in Japanese medieval times, the feudal era. So yeah, so it's a big mess. So I would say that there are two reasons why Trump did this, besides the oil, of course, which he said so. Number one, he wanted to take attention away from the Epstein files. That there's a big headhunt for him and all that, for the files to be released in full. Unredacted and all that crap. And number two is that I think that the reason why Trump wanted to attack Venezuela, now he's threatening Colombia and Cuba, is because he doesn't want people to laugh at him. They want him to take him as a serious threat, as a big boy And that doesn't be funny because it's like, quit laughing at me, I'm gonna take over your land. And sure enough, he made his promise clear that he could do it. For the oil, I mean drugs. The petroleum instead of drugs. So, he probably will do that with Greenland. And that's gonna be a big problem. Because if you notice, with, with Venezuela, it's a pretty relatively small place. Like, with a land size the size of France and Germany combined. So, not that small, but yeah. He can bully it without any problem. And he probably feels really big and tough, knowing that it's going to be called that people are going to call it now, the Trump Road Doctrine, which is a combination of Donald Trump and the Monroe Doctrine, which I think it means that we have to protect all the territory in the Western Hemisphere, not conquer it. But that's where Trump comes into play, because he's a wannabe dictator. And it's not going to bode too well. Now, the reason why I think that his domination ideas with Cuba and Colombia would probably fail, quite as a big significance is that if he tried to take over Colombia, for instance, that's going to be a big no, because there are other people in South America that will take notice of this and will not like it that two of their neighbors are being taken over by aggressive United States. Whereas before, whenever that's this bad, at least with the Iraq invasion, with the Gulf War or whatever, at least with them they have like more of a warning, that the Bush administration built up the weapons of mass destruction for a year. They went through the proper channels. When they invaded with something more righteous. I don't agree with it whatsoever because there were no WMDs over there. So with this big waste of manpower, money, and time. But with this jackass, he doesn't seem to understand no means no. And you have to go through the proper channels to do something like that. So if he were to try to take over Greenland, for example, in the same way, he would piss off the Danish government, and therefore the rest of Europe too, because they're allies. So, Trump would, whether it be inadvertently or on purpose, he would drag Europe into another World War III. And I forgot who said it, but if we were to get into World War III, we don't know what weapons we would use in World War III. But World War IV, we fought with sticks and rocks. We would probably nuke ourselves to non-existence. So anyway, this is that little catastrophe waiting on hand. All because of Trump and his annoyance and persistence in the media belief, and probably taken away from the wants to cancel the election because of that little thing. Anyway, the problem with his aspirations, just with Cuba. Now, I don't like communist government at all, but I do know that if he were to take a swing at Cuba, for example, then Russia would get involved, and then China. mainland China. And then on top of that, we get Vietnam too, that would probably put something into and North Korea. Not to worry about North Korea and Vietnam, because they're pretty much the relatively fries. But China and Russia, on the other hand, they're the big boys, the big communist boys in the bunch. And if you piss off one of the allies, like Cuba or Vietnam or anybody else for that matter, the other two will come running and charging. And that's not gonna be too pretty if they gang up on the United States together. Now, I believe that the United States could theoretically hold its own against like one of these superpowers, China or Russia by themselves. But if both of them were to gang up on us, then we would have to call for help with that. And being that Trump so delightfully and so gleefully destroyed all of our connections with, say, allies in Europe over various trade problems and economic issues and whatnot, I don't think that we would stand a chance in that regard. So I think that Trump would be a very big agent of chaos if he were to take any swing at Cuba, for example. And given his mental deterioration, I think it's a pretty bet that he can try it at least one time. Forget about the history behind behind the deal that Kennedy struck with Russia in the I think it was the Bay of Pigs, the Bay of Pigs, by which they negotiated missiles being removed, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and in which they removed missiles on both sides. So, there's also a very dangerous precedent that Trump has set. Now, and I'm talking about the actual presidency by itself. I'm talking about the actual dangerous precedent, meaning the first of its kind. Meaning that if Trump wants something bad enough, he'll pull every stop out to get it. Whether it be the ballroom or the excessive archway that he can build, or battleship group or destroyer group that he's gonna do, or theoretically giant Death Star or something. Whatever he has in the moldy brain of his that he can think of that cost us taxpayer money. He's gonna do it on his own, and maybe it'd be sponsored or donated by some group of people. Anyway, the thing is that if he wants something, he gets it. Where healthcare, SNAP benefits, all that, like, secondary to him. The one thing that he cares about is his own legacy and his own desires. But anyway, he wants it. He takes what he wants, quite literally. So, people around the world could see that and say, United States did this, why can't I do it for my country? Why can't China just take over Taiwan and call it that as that? Why can't Russia and Putin take back the Ukraine and then the rest of Eastern Europe? Why can't they take over such and such territory? Why can't they such and such do this, that, and this thing? So that's why it's going to be very, very dangerous, and we're on a nice edge going to the new year 2026. I feel for this country only I can say this now at this point was something incredibly radical. Let me see here. Yeah, he got the delicate touch of road tanks. That's what he's got. And let's see, well, we know it's about this. I'll do about that. Anyway, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna get back to it on the video, but you know, let's pray that he doesn't do anything really stupid. I mean, really dumb to defend his own self. Anyway, if you guys like what you see here, you want to see more of my videos, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also, you can also call me for future information on future videos, but call me or texting me at 631-707-3707. And if you'd like, you can follow me on Twitter or X if you prefer. And you can also get my email address at JJ's viewing channel at gmail.com. So remember, guys, peace out, my brothers and sisters. Oh yeah, this is coming from a guy who likes to see that, we get boots on the ground and all that. And he got deferred from serving in war 5 different times. So I think that's kind of stupid to have a guy that was deferred, that never served in war, that never suffered the fate of war, that got released from serving for 5 times. That's absurd. That he's leading this campaign against Latin America, and then he gets the balls to say that Mexico might be next. Like it's like a reality TV show. I recently saw a video about that this is some kind of reality TV show for him. That attention more than anything else, a rating grab. But I don't think so. But you said if it is, then what would be the next logical step of the ante? Is he really gonna go to war with somebody, or is he gonna be or is he just gonna nuke somebody just so they can? So yeah, that's scary stuff. This is a great thing for New Year's, right? New Year, new revolution, new beginnings, new war. From a peace-loving president. Anyway, that's not what I was going for before, but whatever. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this little mess that he's gotten into do. And peace out, my brothers, or try to, and happy thoughts. And I'll see you all guys until end in the next video. That's all for now. Sayonara. See ya.